मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लाङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं नमयों विष्णुपादाय श्रीगौरप्रियमूर्तये श्रीमते भक्तिवल्लभतीर्थगोस्वामिनामिने कृपया क्षमतामपराधिजनं कलुषायुतशक्तसुदीननरं सुपथे परिचालय सर्वदिनं प्रणमामि च माधव देवपदम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 6th chapter. Yesterday we heard when Narada Goswami entered into the forest, he passed through several places, very rich cities. He passed through beautiful lakes, ponds, forests, and also the places where the flower gardens, the parks, and the places where the ferocious animals live. He passed through all these places and he was very tired after passing through these places. So he sat beneath a tree, Ashwatha tree. He took bath in the water. He drank the water, and then after his, tiredness was gone, he sat beneath a tree, and then he meditated upon the Supreme Lord as he received instructions from his Guru, as has been explained by the sages. So he fixed his mind in the heart where Supreme Lord is residing, and he got his darshan. At first the Lord appeared within his heart, and after that he became manifest to him outside his heart. So when Narada Goswami saw that beautiful form of the Supreme Lord, his eyes were filled with tears and he had various symptoms of ecstasy manifest in his body. Now we'll continue from verse number 18. We completed till 17th, right? प्रेमाति प्रेमाति भर निर्भिन्न पुलकांगो अति निवृत्तः आनंद संप्लवे लीनो नापस्यमु भयम मुने। हे महर्षि वेदव्यास, गभीर प्रेम भरे आमार शरीर पुलक रोमांचित एवं निरतिशय सुख अनुभव होवाते परमानंद श्रोते मग्न हइया आपना के बा श्रीहरि के प्रत्यक्ष करिलाम ना। So, have you heard this narration of Vedavyasa and Narada before? No? Okay. No, but have you heard before? No? Okay. So let me summarize for her benefit so that she will be able to follow where we are today. Okay. So we are going through the conversation between Vedavyasa and Narada Goswami. Vedavyasa has written so many Vedas, he has classified the Vedas, he has written so many scriptures, Puranas, Upanishads, etc. But he was not feeling happiness within his heart. He sat on the banks of Saraswati river in Badrik ashram, and then he was meditating upon his guru Narad. Narad appeared in front of him and then he asked about his welfare, for which he says that he is not happy. Then Narada Goswami asks, have you committed any harm to any person? Because if you do any bad activity to some others, you will get bad reaction, therefore you will have suffering. If you give suffering to others, you will get suffering. If you give happiness to others, you will get happiness. So did you do any such harm to any living entity? No. In fact, I have written scriptures for the welfare of all the living entities. What did you write? I have classified the Vedas. I have written Puranas. And I have even written Mahabharata. What did you give in that? I mentioned about dharma, artha, kama, and even moksha. Religiosity, sense gratification, economic development, and even up to liberation I have given. Because people have, in general, they have the desire to enjoy. I have given, dharma shastra, so that how they can perform religiosity nicely for their welfare. I have written. Artha shastra I have written because people have the desire to earn money. I have explained them the fair means to earn money. And people have desires. I have written Kama Shastra for their purpose. Then Narada Goswami says, you have done a very, very abominable thing. Why? Because the living entities have natural inclination towards all these things, because of which they are bound in this material world. They are bound in this material world because they have the material desires, they have lust, they have greed, they have anger. These are the things that are there in them, and you have added fuel to the fire. The fire is already there and you have added more fuel to it. So you have only given them more suffering. How to suffer more? You thought that you have given them good, but you have only given them means to suffer more. You stay in this material world for more time. You earn this money, stay for some more time, earn false prestige, stay for some more time. Well, how will you get happiness by that? No. Those who are tired by dharma, artha, kama, I have given them process of moksha also, liberation I have given. Then Narada Goswami says, you have done even more abominable thing, even more degraded thing. Why? What wrong did I do? Because the natural propensity of a living entity is to serve Supreme Lord. By moksha they are merging with the God. They want to become one with God. Where is that service attitude? You have finished the propensity of the Atma only. The conscious unit wants to serve, and you have completely negated his propensity to serve. Therefore, what good did you do to them? The result will be this only. Then what should I do? You have to sing the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. I did. Where? Mahabharata I did. I sang the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in Mahabharata. I wrote about Gita, where Krishna is giving instructions. I wrote that also. Narada says, no, you have not sung the glories for the pleasure of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. In Mahabharata also you wrote only to please the living entities. From Mahabharata, Dharma, Artha, Kama. This is what people are learning, not about devotion. There is nothing about devotion. The Manasas means those who are liberated souls, the Paramahamsas, they don't take pleasure in any of these things. They take pleasure only in hearing and singing the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, you should sing the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna for his pleasure. How that will attain? How you will attain that? That can be attained only in the company of the devotees. When you are in the company of the devotees, by the blessings of the devotees, you will get the desire to sing the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. You will have the desire to hear the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. It is possible only in the company of the sadhus. By saying this, Narada Goswami started speaking about his past life. In my previous birth, I was a son of a maid servant. And my mother used to serve the sadhus. As an infant, I got an opportunity to serve the sadhus. By their mercy, I got their mercy to serve the sadhus as a child. One time, during Chaturmasya period, means the 4-month period where Rishis, Munis, they don't travel, they stay at one place, they all got together at one place, and my mother and I got an opportunity to serve those sadhus. As a child, I was serving those sadhus, and those sadhus were very merciful upon me to speak the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. They used to give their remnants to me. They used to offer their service to me. By this, gradually I elevated. My consciousness got elevated. And I started developing attachment to hearing more about Supreme Lord. Narada Goswami is telling that how can one get attachment to hearing the glories of Supreme Lord? One can get attachment to the glories of Supreme Lord, hearing of glories of Supreme Lord, only in the company of the sadhus. Only by serving the sadhus, by eating the remnants of the sadhus. When one takes the remnants of the sadhus, then one's heart gets cleansed. And when it is cleansed, then slowly means cleansed from the anarthas, then actual katha of the Supreme Lord, actual glories of Supreme Lord will become manifest. Ruchi, Nishtha, etc. These things will happen one after another. So Narada Goswami is telling that I got an opportunity, and therefore the sadhus very mercifully they have given me mantra. They have given me the mantra to meditate upon. After the 4 months period, the sadhus they left for their own travel programs. I was left with my mother. Then Vedavyasa Muni asks the question, what happened after that? I want to know what happened after that. You were a small child, what did you do? For the rest of your life until you grew old. And I also want to know how you left your body. How you left your body in your past life, in previous kalpa, not even in this kalpa, previous kalpa, how you left your body. I want to know. And I have another question. With the influence of time, everyone forgets everything. How did you remember what happened in your past life, and that too in the previous kalpa? How was this possible? Please mercifully, give me replies to my honest inquiries. Then Narada Goswami speaks. After the sages left, my mother, who is dependent, who is not very intelligent, At the same time very much attached to taking care of me. She has a lot of affection for me, and she used to try to serve, try to be, do all the things required for me very affectionately, but she was not able to do so because of her dependency on others. But on the other hand, my position was that I was not at all captivated by my mother's love. I wanted to simply escape. Because I have developed attachment to Krishna Katha. Now, bhakti hi pareshanubhavo virakti hi anya vastunaha. As much submission one has to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, or as much desire one has got towards hearing and speaking the glories of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, so much feeling of bhakti one will have, or so much devotion one will have in the heart, and paresh anubhavo, so much realization he will have, virakti anya vastuna, and to that degree he will have detachment to material things also. Means detachment is not the one that is to be practiced. We need to practice devotion, detachment becomes automatic. It is an outcome of devotion. Otherwise, if we are falsely trying to detach ourselves, it's going to be temporary. Like our Saubari Rishi. Saubari Rishi was sitting in the waters, meditating for several years, but he saw two fishes in intercourse, and then he got immediately attracted to that, and he left his tapasya, he came out, he married 50 daughters of Mandhata. If his detachment was due to his attachment to Krishna, then this would not have happened. Like Haridas Thakur. In front of Haridas Thakur, the prostitute was sitting right in front of him, and she was exhibiting all the womanary tricks, the tricks of a woman, to attract Haridas Thakur. She was not successful. Why? Because Haridas Thakur has got so much attachment to Krishna or Krishna's name that he had no attachment to any of the material desires whatsoever. Therefore, here Narada's detachment from the material things was not out of some, sometimes we also get some detachment. No, this family life is very bad, this material world is very bad. But that will only stay for few days, if we are very fortunate. Otherwise, it will stay only for few hours. So at most, it will stay for few months. That's the maximum. Not beyond that. We will see something very nice and all detachment finished. Oh, this material world is very nice. But again, when Maya will kick us, material world very bad. When Maya will pamper us, oh, material world very good. So, unless until we have not realized Supreme Lord, this will go on. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Attachment, detachment, attachment, detachment. This will go on. As long as we have no attachment to Supreme Lord. Once attachment to Supreme Lord happens, then automatically one gets detached. Narada Goswami's detachment is out of attachment to Harikatha. Therefore, one night when Narada's mother, she was going to milk the cow, at that time in the night, a serpent had come and the serpent had bitten mother, and then she died. After that, Narada Goswami, in his past life, he headed towards north in search of the Supreme Lord. He has passed through several forests, several things, and then he was very tired. He is now sitting under a tree, and then he meditated upon Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord gave him darshan, and after he got darshan of the Supreme Lord, What happened? We are going to read now. हे महर्षि वेदव्यास, गभीर प्रेम भरे आमार शरीर पुलक रोमांचित एवं निरतिशय सुख अनुभव होवाते परमानंद श्रुते मग्न होइया अपना के व श्रीहरि के प्रत्यक्ष करिलाम. When the Lord appeared in front of him, when he got darshan of Supreme Lord, at that time he had got so many symptoms of ecstasy that became manifest in his body. His body, there was horripilation, and his eyes were filled with tears, and pulaka, he had, what do you call, electrification in the body. What do you call? What is it called? Is a pulaka, sometime your body gets electrified like this in bhava. So he had got all these feelings. Then what happened is, Paramananda Shrute Magna Hoya, when my eyes were filled with the tears of Paramananda, supreme ecstasy, what happens at that time? Narada Goswami is telling that I could not see the Supreme Lord any longer. After that, I could not see the Supreme Lord any longer. When one, actually, all of us, we are praying for bhava. When will that bhava come in me? Isn't it? 7th verse of Shikshashtaka. Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtu mam adarshanan varmat. No. Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravrishayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. When will that day come? When will that day come when my eyes will be filled with tears, when I will have horripilation, when my voice will be choked? But in Vrindavan Dham, the servants of Supreme Lord, the associates of Supreme Lord, they don't give any value to bhava. Why? On the contrary, they see this bhava as a hindrance to perform bhajan. The servants of Krishna, Chitraka and Raktaka, the two servants of Krishna, when they are fanning the Supreme Lord, they are telling that, oh bhava, please stay away from us. Please don't touch us. Because when bhava comes, what happens? In bhava, in spiritual ecstasy, one will be completely lost that the service is disturbed. Isn't it? When there is, the hands become stiff in bhava, then what happens? Service is disturbed. Therefore, they don't want bhava. They are in such a platform, and the gopis say, oh tears, don't come into our eyes. Please don't come in our eyes, because we will not be able to relish the sweetness of Shyam Sundar. If you put a layer on top of our eyes, we will not be able to relish the sweetness of Shyam Sundar. Therefore, bhava, even though it is one of the platforms of our spiritual progress for sure, but in Krishna Prema, they want to stay away from it, particularly when they are in service, because they don't want bhava to interfere in their service. So here for Narada, what happened is that he was no longer able to see the Supreme Lord. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the commentary, Premer atyadhikya hetu amar anga shakale ati bhinna o pulakayukta hoyachlo. Because of overflow of spiritual ecstasy in me, all of my body got completely, it has amar anga shakal ati bhin, it has become a different world for me. Now when you are in bhava, what happens is that you enter a very different world. You will not be able to see who is in front of you, what is happening in front of you. It's completely different. But Supreme Lord has come in front of him, but his spiritual ecstasies have so much overflowed in him that his bodily limbs are not doing what they are supposed to at that time. তৎকালে সমস্ত অঙ্গই প্রেমরূপ হইয়াছিল, means all my bodily limbs became completely filled with prema, with love. অথবা ধারণ করতে অসামর্থ্য বশতই অঙ্গগুলি যেন নিঃশেষে বিদীর্ণ হইয়াছিল, এই ভাব। আনন্দ প্লাবনে লীন অর্থাৎ আনন্দ লোভে মূর্ছিত হইয়াছিলাম, এই অর্থ। So the limbs were actually not able to, were so much engrossed in the divine ecstasy that they were no longer able to perform their activities. Means eyes were not able to see, ears were not able to hear, none of the senses are performing their activities properly. And Ananda Plavane Leenu, I was completely absorbed in the ocean of ecstasy. Means I fainted in ecstasy. I became unconscious in ecstasy. This is also one of the symptoms of ecstasy. তখন উভয়কে অর্থাৎ নিজেকে ও পরমাত্মাকে দেখতে পাইলাম না। Then I could not see both of us. I could not see my own self. I could not see even the Supreme Lord. Why? He will not be able to see his own self because he is completely lost. In ecstasy, he will not see what he is doing, what he is, where he is, he will be lost. And Supreme Lord is also not seen. So he is telling that I lost the vision of the Supreme Lord. Rupam Bhagavato Yat Tan Manah Kantam Shuchapaham Apashyan Sahasotasthe वैक्लव्याद दुर्मना इव। भगवान श्री हरि से मनोमोहन अशोक रूप हठात देखिते ना पावाय, प्राप्त निधि हराइले लोके जेमन दुखित और चिंतित হয়, তেমনি व्याकुल हृदये সেই विह्वल अवस्था হইতে জাগরিত হইলাম। If a person has lots of property and if it is suddenly gone, what will be his position? He will be completely overcome with, he is overwhelmed with extreme grief. As if a person has lost his property, what will happen to him? Everything is blinded. He will not know what is good, what is bad, what to do, what not to do. He is completely in a hopeless situation. Narada Goswami is telling that I was in that situation. When the Lord has suddenly disappeared in front of my eyes, I became totally hopeless. And in such a situation, I Jagrit Hoilam, I came back to consciousness. What happened suddenly? I was seeing Supreme Lord, and what happened suddenly? I just came back to my consciousness, because all the while I was completely lost in the Supreme Lord's darshan, and then suddenly when the ecstasy has overpowered him, then everything is gone, so he came back to his consciousness. Didrikshu stadaham bhuyah pranidhaya manohridi vikshamano api नापस्यमवितृष्ण इवातुरः। पुनर्बार भगवानेर সেই রূপ দর্শনের ইচ্ছায় হৃদয়ে মন সমাহিত করিয়া দেখিবার জন্য যত্ন করিয়াও আমি আর দেখতে পাইলাম না, তার জন্য অতৃপ্ত হইয়া কাতর হইয়া পড়লাম। Then again I tried the same procedure. What I did, I just closed my eyes. I tried to fix my mind in my heart and in my own self to see the Supreme Lord as he did before, and he got darshan by following what his gurus have ordered. So similarly, I tried like this again to establish my mind in the heart and take darshan of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Repeatedly I attempted, but I was not successful. I was not able to see the Supreme Lord for another time. Then, because my thirst was not quenched, thirst of the Supreme Lord's darshan, because it was not quenched, I became totally, distraught. I was totally lost. I became completely hopeless, because I tried repeatedly, I could not get his darshan. Broken heart, yes. एवं यतदन्तं विजने मामाह गोचरो गिरां गंभीर श्लक्ष्णया वाचा शुचः प्रशमयन्निव। এইভাবে নির্জন বনে বসিয়া যখন ভগবত দর্শনের জন্য পুনঃ পুনঃ চেষ্টা করিতেছিলাম, তখন আমাকে বাক্যের অগোচর ভগবান শ্রীহরি গভীর স্নেহ মধুর বাক্যে তাহার আদর্শন জনিত বিরহ শোক যেন দূরীভূত করিয়াই বলিতে লাগলেন। In this manner, sitting in solitude, when I repeatedly tried to take darshan of Supreme Lord and repeatedly failed, at that time, Supreme Lord, who is beyond the words, Supreme Lord is beyond the words, means nobody can describe the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord, who is beyond the words, he started speaking to me in a very beautiful voice, as if he wanted to free me from my separation grief. I was in extreme separation grief. I repeatedly wanted to get his darshan. I was not getting it. Therefore, I was feeling, I was in grief of separation. So, in order to alleviate my grief, the Lord had spoken in a very, very beautiful voice and a sweet voice. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the commentary, Giram agocharaha, Vakyar agochar. Supreme Lord is beyond speech, beyond words. Means no material words can describe the Supreme Lord. Vang mano agochara. The Lord is called as Vang mano agochara. Vang means vani, speech. Mano means man, mind. Agochara means not to be known. The Lord is not to be known by one's mind and by speech also. Nobody can describe Supreme Lord through speech. If one can describe the Supreme Lord with material words, then how will Supreme Lord be called as supreme or infinite? Infinite cannot be contained by any of the finite words of this material world. These material words are finite by nature. They are not infinite. Because one word is limited to only that degree. There are different, if you want to express great, greater, greatest, splendid, excellent, fabulous, isn't it? So there is a degree. Now great will not describe everything. Fantastic, fabulous will also not describe anything. There is some other, she will tell. We have dictionaries here. There is a superior word. Means not a single word can even describe something in this material world. Then how can this material speech describe the Supreme Lord? Supreme Lord is totally beyond speech and the mind. Supreme Lord is beyond the mind. We think that the mind is the fastest traveler, isn't it? We know it can travel very quickly. It can experience what we cannot see with the eyes. Through the mind you can experience so many things. Just imagine and then you will have all those things coming in your heart. We call fantasy world. It's an imaginary world. It's an imaginary world. So mind can fantasize, mind can go anywhere, but still that mind cannot touch the Supreme Lord, because mind is material, Supreme Lord is transcendental. How can a material object come in contact with the spiritual object? It is impossible. Therefore, Vang mano agochara. The Lord is beyond speech and beyond the mind. So here, in Shruti Shastras, there is a verse that means যে ব্রহ্মকে না পাইয়া অর্থাৎ যাহাকে প্রকাশ করিতে বা বিষয়ীভূত করিতে অসমর্থ হইয়া বাক্য ও মন তাহা হইতে নিবৃত্ত হয়, সেই ব্রহ্মের উপলব্ধি জনিত আনন্দ যিনি জানেন, তিনি কোনো কিছু হইতেই ভয় পান না, অর্থাৎ তাহার ভয়ের সকল কারণ বিনষ্ট হয়। Those who have known Brahman, the Supreme Brahman, he is always fearless. He has no fear. Why? Because he is telling that to describe that Brahman, even the words fall short. Even the scriptures fall short to describe that Brahman. Therefore, anyone who has got realization of that Brahman, he will be free from fear and anxiety. So in one of the Shrutis, it is said that how can one be free from anxiety? How can one be free from fear? By having the knowledge of the Brahman. That Brahman is beyond speech, beyond words. কেহই তাহাকে বচনের বিষয়ীভূত করিতে সমর্থ না হইলেও ভগবান বললেন, even though the Supreme Lord cannot be described through words, the same Supreme Lord spoke to me. Narada is telling that even though one cannot describe through words, the same Lord is speaking to me in this manner. What is that? स्वीय वचनेर मधुर स्वरध्वनि कर्णद्वयेर द्वारा আমাকে अनुभव कराइलेन. What does that mean? If Supreme Lord does not allow one to hear his words, one will not be able to hear. Do you understand? In Kurukshetra, Shri Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. How many of them heard Bhagavad Gita? How many of them could hear Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavan is speaking, but only Arjuna or just one or few others could hear him or understand him. Others, they could not. Why? Bhagavan is speaking. He is speaking like any one of us. Is not. Why others are not able to hear it? Because if the Lord does not mercifully make one eligible to hear his speech, we will not be able to hear. The Lord is telling living entities, please come, why are you suffering? Are we able to hear it? Are we able to hear the Lord's words? No, we are not able to hear. But he is repeatedly telling, Enechi aushadhi maya nasivaralaga, I have come for you. I have brought this Mahamantra. I have come for you only. Mahaprabhu is calling. How many of us are able to hear? We are not able to hear. Because material senses. So Narada is telling that the Lord made me hear his beautiful words. Ei prakar, by this we have to understand that none of the spiritual objects are in our purview. They are not subject matters of our understanding, seeing, hearing, or any perception in one word. They are all possible by the mercy of Supreme Lord only. এই প্রকার শ্রী নারদের বৈদি ভক্তি মত্ব হেতু শ্রী ভগবানের সৌরভ্য, সৌন্দর্য এবং সৌশ্বর্য এই তিনটিরই মাধুর্যের অনুভব হইয়াছিল, কিন্তু অপর সকলের ভগবানের মাধুর্যের অনুভব সিদ্ধ দেহেই হইয়া থাকে, ইহা জানিতে হইবে. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making a very, very nice point here. Now Narada Goswami is still in a sadhaka deha. He is in the body of a practitioner. He is not in the body of a siddha deha, not a perfected soul. We are talking about Narada's previous life. So Narada is not in the body of a perfected soul, but he is in the body of a sadhana deha, is a practitioner body he is in. While one is in a practitioner body, one will not be able to realize Supreme Lord. One has to be perfected. One has to have a liberated platform to be able to hear or see the Supreme Lord or experience His beauty. But Narada Goswami is experiencing, he is telling that I have heard the beautiful voice of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Why? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is telling that because Vaidhi Bhakti Matvat Hetui, because he has followed the procedure that has been given to him by his gurus. He is following the process of Hari Bhajan as explained by the Guru. For that reason, he got the experience of the Supreme Lord even in his sadhaka deha, even in the body of his, practitioner, of a practitioner. किंतु अपर सकलेर भगवानेर माधुर्य अनुभव सिद्धि देहे होइया थाके. But others can experience the Supreme Lord only in a realized state. Only in the realized state they can experience the Supreme Lord. They can hear Him, they can see Him, they can experience His scent, aroma, only in the realized state, but not in the perfect state, not in the practitioner state. Iha janite ho, this one has to know for certain that, oh, Narada got it, therefore I will also get it. No, it's not possible. Narada got it by the mercy of Supreme Lord. शुचः बोलिते श्री भगवानेर अदर्शन जनित दुख और शोक समूह दूरीभूत करते ही जेनो. And why did he speak? Because he wanted to free me from my grief, separation grief. For that reason. एखाने वियोगे उत्कंठावान प्रेमेर सर्व प्रकारे तृप्तिर अभाव धर्मत्व हेतु इव शब्देर प्रयोग होइयाछे. The Iva word is used. Iva means certainly. Means Narada is telling that certainly there is separation. Certainly I was disappointed. So the certainty means that there is an extreme separation grief that Narada was experiencing. Okay. So we will stop here and then continue tomorrow. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गांधर्विका गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन पंचतत्वात्मक श्री गौर हरि की जय. परमाराधितम पतित पावन स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति वल्लभ तीर्थ गोस्वामी श्री गुरु महाराज की जय. नित्य लीला प्रविष्टोम विष्णुपाद पुरों स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति दयित माधव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. जगत गुरु श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय. शिष्य रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग की जय. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय. श्री कृष्ण द्वैपायन वेदव्यास महामुनि की जय. श्री नारद गोस्वामी की जय. श्रीमद् भागवत श्रवणकारी भक्त वृंद की जय. There is one thing that I want to tell, that tomorrow we will not have Harikatha. Tomorrow I have a meeting, some contractors are coming. So tomorrow there will be no Harikatha. Day after tomorrow there will be. Okay. हरिनाम प्रभु की जय. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल.